Nation.
SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first. Then you act.
Make sure I didn't knock your thing. I moved your, I touched your stuff there.
Yeah,
Sorry
good.
about that. Just moved it over to the right a little bit. Couple of things. Just, you know, I'm not, if you guys know me, I'm not big on the individual stuff and all that. I think that takes care of itself. I think it's a team sport, and that's the way it should be addressed. And if good things happen to the team, good things happen to individuals. But I did want to make a couple of comments on some individual things here, and then one group in particular. One, I'd like to congratulate Ryan Miller on his win last night with Anaheim, and that he took over as the all-time, passing John Van Beesbroek, all-time winningest USA-born goaltender in the NHL. And that's just, you know, nothing Ryan does surprises anybody around here, but that's a pretty special thing, and you know, we're awfully proud of him. And we had a nice little, Barnesy sent out a nice video that we had made. There's a 3-minute version and then a shorter version with a lot of people from around campus and people that know Ryan. So wanted to congratulate him, and that's certainly an outstanding thing. And then talking about Taro, you know, after he was up here addressing some things, you know, what that young man has done for our team and our program and our university is outstanding, and it's fun to be around. And I've had opportunity in my lifetime to be around a lot of really good athletes and good people, and people that have accomplished a lot. And you get that feeling with good players. And I was, again, with the U.S. program, some guys, you know, where you have like Clayton Keller and Austin Matthews and Jack Eichel and Seth Jones and guys like that. And when they do stuff on the ice, even a guy like myself that's, I think, I've coached almost 1,000 games now as a head coach, and played almost 1,000 as a pro, that you get excited. And that's hard to do, and especially when you see a young man every day. But Taro is doing that night in and night out. He keeps improving, which I think is a really special thing. I think he has room to even get better, which is even more exciting. But you know, you start breaking down stats and some of the things that he's doing, comparing it to people nationally, and I think it's truly an outstanding accomplishment. And I think the question of, you know, being nervous about it, I think, you know, I talk to the guys about it all the time. You do a brain scan of somebody who's nervous and somebody who's excited, and it looks exactly the same. And I see him playing, I think he's excited about it. I don't see that cat being very nervous. He just goes out and performs. He's very confident. He's finding his voice as a leader, and it's great to be around. I hope he wins it. I think he should win it. And but if our team does well down the stretch here, if our team finishes strong, if our team, you know, makes some noise in the playoffs, that'll help his case. So we're all on board for Rossi, for Hobie. I thought the t-shirts the other night were outstanding. There's a lot of fun around the arena, and we'll go from there. And then a group of 3, I guess, is a little closer to the team, but just our seniors. And I think it was a real emotional night on Saturday, and I don't know if you guys saw them after the game, you know, when they had kind of their little last hurrah after the game. They stayed out afterwards. And what a tremendous group of 3 young men. Again, another small senior class, so you know, it's maybe a little more intimate than when you have 8 or 9, but they left it all out there. I was really glad. They all had good weekends. They all played really hard. It wasn't, you know, sometimes the emotionality of it can tire you out, and you can not have a great game. But I thought all 3 of them played real well and contributed, and helped us against a tough Penn State game. So real proud of those guys. But just like Taro, I hope they got a lot more hockey left in them. And we've got a bye weekend this weekend, and that is what it is. We knew about it before the season, and we'll use this rest as a weapon. We'll get a little bit of rest, and then we'll get after Ohio State and find out what the playoffs have in store for us.
Dan, I have 2 questions for you. The first is, football with Mark D'Antonio and basketball with Tom Izzo are very good at using their pros that have left here and had success in the recruiting process. How much does a Ryan Miller and other players in the NHL impact you in recruiting, and are you able to use it?
Well, it does help, and the goal of all the guys, in playing, college hockey, you have a chance to go on and play pro hockey. I mean, 33% or so, or getting close to 33% of the NHL are college, educated young men have left from here, trained here. So it is an opportunity, and that's what they want to have, is that opportunity. So we can point to certain guys. I think, certainly the age of Ryan now, he's starting to, don't take any offense, Ryan, he's starting to get a little bit older now, and the nearness of it, so, but Mason Appleton, Mackenzie McEachern, some of the younger guys that have come out of here the last few years, hopefully, guys like Taro will go on and have a good career. And I think that immediacy, young guys, it's funny, they don't know the older guys. I ask them, hey, you guys, I started saying something about Wayne Gretzky, and I got to check myself. But hey, guys, raise your hand if you know who Wayne Gretzky is. So thank God they still know that. But so, the near term is a little bit better. But in the meantime, what we talk a lot about is, like, if guys want to come and develop, and I have to for a certain, lend my career and my development of players. I'm getting close to, I think it's at 97 players right now that have played for me that have played in the NHL, and that's more than most universities in the United States. So, if I can lend my credibility for a bit until we start to have guys roll out every year that are in the NHL, we can do that. But if guys want to develop and want to be a pro hockey player, this is a great place to be.
Secondly, Tom Izzo's reputation with the NBA teams is he's very truthful with guys and what they can and can't do. So you have been a very successful pro coach and a player. How does Taro transcend to the next level as an NHLer?
Well, and I hope I have, I've dealt with, guys in the NHL, with guys leaving me for the last 20 years. And, hopefully, at the end of the day, that's what you have as a man. You have your word, and I try and be as honest as I can. Sometimes, they think I overvalue guys. Sometimes they think I undervalue guys, but I think I'm pretty good at being around them and practicing games and knowing the mental and physical makeup that it takes to be an NHL player. And at Taro, in terms of brains and thinking the game and competing, he's top notch. And I'll put him up there with any of the big guys in the NHL. He's a computer out there. He's a hockey computer, and I think he might say, what making you better this year? And he's always nice. He says, oh, my line mates are more mature and the team's playing a little better. And that's true, but he put an awful lot of work in the weight room in the spring and the summer. And I think the difference between Taro last year and this year is last year he had 2 to 5 feet to make a play. This year I think he has 5 and 10 feet to make a play, because he's a little stronger and a little faster. He can deflect guys. He can bump guys off the puck and create space for himself. And if you give a guy that's that smart, you give him that much room, he's going to make a good play. And I think that's probably the biggest thing he's done. And again, I think there's another bump for him in the weight room and strength, and I think that'll lend itself to him being an even better pro.
You mentioned.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Neil. You mentioned that he has some room for improvement. Where do you really think his ceiling might be? And if you had to think of a player in the league that he could represent or become, who would it be?
Yeah, that's, it is hard. Everybody has certain attributes and different size and things like that. And I always go back to the Tigers for years. We kept saying, oh, he's, Kirk Gibson's the next Mickey Mantle. That's a hell of a thing to put on somebody. And I don't think those ever work, but I think he has some attributes of some guys. I think he has the brains and the offensive acumen of a guy like Clayton Keller that I coach. I think he has the compete and the smoothness to the game that Seth Jones has. So I think he has a lot of those different things, but I think that next step for him is going to be based on, hey, just being in the weight room and getting stronger and more powerful, because at that next stage there's a lot of guys that think the game well. There's a lot of big, you go against defensemen that are 6'3" and 6'4" that can skate as well as you and think as well as you. That makes it harder. So hey, and you have to keep getting better. And you see the really good pros, they're 30 years old, and they're still figuring stuff out. They're still training a little smarter, a little better in the summer. So I think you keep getting better every year regardless. And that's just a non-starter. And the really good ones, they do that. They're looking for something else. The guys that are just looking to survive or think good enough is good enough, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So I think that's the attitude he has to have going through his career from here on out.
And even if you guys don't get home ice for the playoffs in the final week, what gives you confidence that when you do play your first round that you can have success?
Yeah, you know what, I don't, I'd love to play here, but, to a certain extent, that's we could win both games at Ohio State and still not get home ice. So, you know what, there's some things that have to happen, and that's fine. Those are out of our control. But what's in our control is how we play, how we approach this week off, which is really important for us. I think in the last 7 weeks, we played 16 games, and that's a lot in college hockey. I mean, that's a couple of real physical games. And that was coming off the GLI, where I think we played 4 and 7 nights. So we need this to get our bodies right. But I think our minds are right. I think our guys know that we're pretty tough out. And I heard one of the comments from one of the announcers from one of the other Big Ten teams, where they said they'd rather play anybody in the Big Ten other than Michigan State. They just said it's just always a really hard game. And I like that. I don't know, maybe some people think that's not a compliment, but I love that stuff. It's supposed to be hard to play against teams, and there's not a lot of quit in this group. So that, if nothing else, at the end of the day, I think if you can get the talent close, I think culture beats strategy, and I like where our guys are at. They're going to battle right to the end, regardless of how the first 58 minutes go. I know the last 2 minutes they're going to be scratching and clawing, and we said the other night, biting at the other team's ankles trying to win the game, so I feel good about it.
Yeah, I don't live much on social media, but it's been directed to me recently of an old picture of you and Tiger Woods at a watering hole in East Lansing, back when you brought the cup here. What do you remember about that photo?
Yeah, that got kind of blown up last week. I think Darius Rucker, I don't know if he has a new album or a tour going on, and it came up on Barstool. So yeah, it was what's old is new again. So it was like all my friends sending stuff to me, and half of them I was surprised, guys that have known me for 30 years didn't know about that story. But yeah, we had a nice get together at my house, and there was about 100 people there, and I think Dean Miller and Ryan were there. So he was just a little guy at the time, and Coach Mason, and a bunch of the people that I played hockey with there at State and family. And so that was a nice afternoon. And then our thoughts were that we were going to take it. We all hung out at Rick's when we were here, just the off season. But anyhow, we thought it'd be a good night. It was a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday night. That's not middle of the summer or early August. Shouldn't be busy, and just happened to be the night that I think it was Michigan Fest back then, and Hootie and the Blowfish were there, and they had 20 to 25,000 people. So the bar ended up being a lot more packed than we thought it was going to be, and then they showed up, and that was kind of neat. And Tiger Woods, I believe, was playing at the Midwestern Amateur, and one of his friends' sister went to Michigan State, so they were over this way. So it ended up being kind of a crazy night there, and had a good time, and ended up getting out of there a little after 2. I think we went and took the Stanley Cup to Denny's, had a little breakfast. Tiger and Darius didn't come with us to Denny's, but some of the Millers did, and some of the guys I played hockey with growing up. So ended up being a really neat night and a really good story, and all completely accidental.
Did you have any conversation with Tiger that night?
Just chat a little. I mean, everybody knew who he was. I mean, when he came in, but he was still, I want to say he was 18 or 19 around then. So, but well known, obviously, and we got a picture taken, came over, and but he was fairly reserved, pretty quiet that night. So, but yeah, chatted with him a little bit, and a lot of people were saying it was at the real Stanley Cup, and some people believed it, some people didn't, but no, it was good. We got some good pictures out of that night. All right, thank you.